This is the Steinhart OVM, which is a homage to my grail watch, the Rolex Milsub. Coming up is a short history of the Milsub and a review of this watch. See you in a mo. Welcome back to Team Tickers. My name's John. I simply drink tea, talk about watches. So before I review the Steinhart Ocean Vintage Military, let me just give you an insight how the original watch that this is a homage to came about. In 1957, Rolex were approached by the Ministry of Defence, who asked them to supply a watch to the British Armed Forces. Rolex supplied them with 50 of reference number 6538 for testing. The 65538 is commonly known as the James Bond Sub, as Ian Fleming lent one to Sean Connery in the film Dr. No. After extensive testing, the Ministry of Defence came back and said, we'll take the watch, we need some modifications. These being a larger bezel with a more serrated edge to be able to grip while wearing gloves, and the strap pins needed to be welded in for strength. The watch was then supplied by Rolex with a reference number A for Alpha 6538. The A6538 was used up to 1967, when the contract was then given to Omega. Omega supplied a mil-spec Seamaster 300, which we'll have more of that at a later date. In 1971, Rolex got the contract back and they supplied the 5513. This is similar to the 6538, but it has now a T on the dial above the number 6, which denotes that the lume is tritium, which is a radioactive material. The contract was lost in 1979, but not before they made my Holy Grail watch, the 5517. This was supplied to the military only, and you can tell the difference between the 5517 to the 5513, as it now has sword hands instead of the Mercedes hands. Only 1,200 of the 5517s were made, and there's probably only about 180 left in existence. If you find an original one, it'll probably cost you upwards of £60,000, if not more. So, to the Steinhart OVM. This is probably a homage to all three of the Milsubs. So, as you can see, it does have the serrated bezel. It has a number 1 above the 6, which is kind of a nod to the T. It doesn't have tritium lume. It has a super luminova lume, and it is a vintage lume, as you can see there. So it's very similar to the colour of the original Milsub. And it also has the sword hands as well, instead of the Mercedes hands. If you compare it to the Invicta here, which is the standard sub homage, as you can see, the bezel isn't as pronounced, and it has the Mercedes hands, not the sword hands. As this is a homage, not a fake, not a copy, it is a larger case. It is a 42mm case instead of a 40mm case. It doesn't have fixed lugs. It comes with normal pins, and it comes on a metal bracelet. But I immediately got rid of the metal bracelet and I put it on a NATO strap, because if it's original Milsub, you won't be able to put a metal bracelet on it because of the welded lugs. Bought this from Steinhart's site last February. Cost me €380. And as nobody else seems to do a Milsub copy, it was a no-brainer. It's one of my favourite watches in my collection. It has a elaborate movement, as an ETA 2824 elaborate, which is the best version of the 2824 that they do. It has a screw down crown. It's a hacky movement, so when you unwind and pull out the crown, the second hand stops, so you can set it accurately. As I said, it is one of my favourite watches in my collection. I'll put links down below to Steinhart in case you want to order one yourself. I'll also put a link down to the article found on the Milsub. Please subscribe below if you want to see more videos, if you like what you see, and also hit the bell for more videos that drop. And also you can find me on Instagram under Tea and Tickers. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.